Sigma males are the rarest breed, so it makes sense that they would have unique habits. Even though some of these habits might seem strange or even crazy, they help Sigma males stand out from the rest of the pack. And this is often why people don't understand them. They look like they can take care of themselves and don't need anyone else to do so. This makes them very appealing to women. People often say they are solitary, emotionless, or even cold, but nothing could be further from the truth. Sigma men are just really good at hiding how they feel. In fact, they often feel things more strongly than other people, but they have learned to control their feelings. Sigmas are natural leaders, but they usually like to lead from behind the scenes. They're not the type to look for attention or try to stand out. Instead, they would rather let their actions do the talking. Some people might think Sigma men are rude or hard to talk to, but they just prefer to watch from the sidelines. Here are 11 weird habits only Sigma males have. 1. They are easily bored. Sigmas get bored quickly with things that are too uninteresting or repetitive. They need to keep their minds active all the time, and if they have to sit still for too long, they get restless. Because of this, they hate small talk and anything else that seems shallow. For them, it's a waste of time to talk about the weather or the latest celebrity rumors. They would much rather have a deep conversation about something they care about. People often call Sigma men intellectuals because they love to learn new things and broaden their minds. They are always looking for mental and emotional ways to grow and change. Sigmas might find it hard to watch a long movie or read a book all the way through, especially if the story doesn't really interest them. They are easily distracted and their thoughts tend to wander. This is why they like movies and books that are short and easy to understand. They need to be able to understand things quickly, and they don't like things that move too slowly. Sigma men are always trying to make their lives better. They're never happy when they just sit back and let life happen. Instead, they are always looking for ways to get things done and take charge. 2. They might leave a situation without warning. If Sigma men are in a boring meeting or conference, it's easy for them to leave without being seen. They're not the kind of people who make a scene or stand out. Others might think this is rude, but Sigmas just don't see why they should stay in a place or situation where they don't feel comfortable. They don't want to have to explain their decisions to anyone and would rather just leave quietly. People are usually surprised by this habit because they don't know where the Sigma went or what they are doing. But he doesn't have to tell everyone about their every move, especially when he has to stop them. They prefer to keep to themselves and only involve others when they think it's necessary. Even though this might not always be the best thing to do, it shows that Sigma males are independent and don't feel like they have to fit in with society. So people often call them lone wolves. 3. They keep their talk to a minimum. Sigma men don't feel the need to talk about things that don't matter just to fill the silence. They would rather let their actions speak for them. They think that actions speak louder than words and are often more interested in what someone does than what they say. They know that it's easy to lie with words, but much harder to lie with actions. This doesn't mean that they can't talk, but they usually only say what they have to. They like to listen more than talk, and most of the time they are the ones who ask the questions. Sometimes it's best to keep quiet and let others talk. This lets you find out more about what's going on and gather information. It also keeps you from saying something you might later wish you hadn't. Sigma knows this, so he takes advantage of the silence. They know when to say something and when not to. This helps them in all parts of their lives, from work to relationships. 4. They rarely express their feelings to others or show any emotion. Sigma men are not the type to wear their feelings on their sleeves. They usually keep their feelings to themselves and rarely tell other people how they feel. This can make them seem hard to get along with or even unfriendly. But the truth is that they just don't see the point in telling everyone they meet how they feel. Sigma men are very private and don't like to share what they're thinking with other people. This doesn't mean they don't have feelings, but they don't show them the same way other people do. They don't let their feelings control them, and they can keep a clear head in tough situations. This lets them make decisions based on facts instead of feelings. They have a deep capacity for empathy and compassion, even if they don't always show it. Even though they might not be the type to show their feelings, they are usually quick to comfort others when they are sad. People often think of Sigma men as strong and quiet, but just because they don't talk about their feelings doesn't mean they don't have them. They just choose who they share them with more carefully. 5. They often prefer to do things by themselves. Sigma males like to do things that let them think about themselves and their goals. Even though they aren't always the life of the party, they usually like to do things by themselves so they can focus on what they're doing. This lets them get into a flow state in which they are totally focused and in the moment. And when they get there, they often feel more creative and productive. There are many things that can be done alone, and many Sigmas like having time to themselves. They may like to read, play chess, work on a hobby, or spend time outside. This doesn't mean they don't like being around other people, but they often feel better when they're not the center of attention. Some people might think this is a sign of shyness, but it's more likely that they just like being alone. 6. It's unbelievable how well they can read people. Sigma men are very aware of their surroundings and know how people act. Usually, they can tell when something is wrong or when someone is lying. They are not only good at reading what people say, but they can also pick up on things that people don't say. This lets them know what someone is really saying, even if they don't say it out loud. They can see right through a person's act and find out what they are really thinking or feeling. Sigma men can tell if someone is a fake from a mile away. Some people can be fooled, but not a Sigma. They know what you're really up to and can see right through your act. This skill helps them in every aspect of their lives. It helps them get closer to each other, understand difficult situations, and make better decisions. It also helps them see potential problems before they happen and gives them an edge in negotiations. 7. They are naturally curious. Sigma men are always asking questions and have trouble taking things at face value. Before they're willing to believe something, they need proof. Sigma men always want to know why things are the way they are. Other people might be happy to just follow the rules or do what everyone else does. And if they don't like the answer, they don't hesitate to speak up or do something different. People who do this often get in trouble because they are always questioning people in power or positions of authority. Sigma men are very curious and find it hard to accept things before they know the whole story. This makes them often wonder if they can trust other people, especially if they just met them. They don't trust people easily. Before they let their guard down, they need proof that someone is real. This is because in the past, they have been hurt by people who weren't as honest as they seemed, so they prefer to stay away until they are sure they can trust someone. No matter how charming or convincing someone is, they are hard to fool. 8. They don't mind being alone. Sigma men are self-reliant and don't mind spending time by themselves. They don't have to be with other people to be happy or satisfied. This is one reason why they are often seen as people who like to be alone. When others are alone, they might feel restless or bored, but Sigma males like having time to themselves. They use this time to think about their lives, work on personal projects, or just relax and unwind. Being alone gives them a chance to recharge and get ready to interact with other people. It's also a time when they can be honest with themselves without worrying about what other people will think. Sigma men are happy to be single because they don't want to be in a relationship just for the sake of being in one. They would rather wait for the right person than settle for someone who isn't a good match. Even if they are in a relationship, they still have their own lives. They don't stop doing the things they like just because their partner doesn't. 9. They aren't always receptive to flattery. Sigma men aren't the kind of people who always need to be told they're right. They are sure of themselves and don't need others to tell them what they're doing right. In fact, they often avoid compliments because they don't think they need them. Compliments are often fake in the world we live in. People often say nice things about other people just to make them feel good or to get something in return. Sigmas can see right through this, and flattery doesn't work on them. This doesn't mean that Sigmas don't like compliments, but they prefer sincere ones. When people listen to them and do what they say, it makes them feel good. You can compliment a Sigma once in a while, but you should make sure you mean it. They would rather have a small group of close friends than a large group of acquaintances. If you give a Sigma too many compliments, they might not believe any of them. 10. They have a big imagination. Most Sigma men have very busy minds that are always thinking about something. They often daydream or get lost in their own thoughts. This is because they have creative minds and are always looking for new ways to use them. They try to look at the world in different and new ways. Some people can't imagine anything beyond what they can see, but Sigma males often have no trouble picturing things that don't exist. They can see connections and patterns that most people can't. Some people might think this is bad, but Sigma men use their creativity to their advantage. They always think of new ideas and ways to make things better. One of the best things about the Sigma male is that he is so creative. It lets them look at problems from different angles and come up with new ways to solve them. It also helps them think outside the box and see opportunities where others might not. They have a lot going on inside of them, and they are always looking for new ways to show it. One of the things that sets the Sigma apart is their creativity. 11. Controlling their environment is important to them. They are very picky about where they live and usually like to be in charge of their environment. They like to be in control of their environment and feel uncomfortable when things aren't where they should be. People often think of them as perfectionists because of their need to be in charge. Some people don't mind a little bit of chaos, but Sigma males prefer a clean and organized space. This is because it's easier for them to pay attention when their surroundings are in order. When their surroundings are messy or cluttered, it can be hard for them to stay on task. So, they usually do things to keep their space clean and clear of clutter. When it comes to people, Sigmas tend to be very picky about who they hang out with. They like to hang out with people who share their values and with whom they can have deep conversations. They don't waste their time on relationships that are just on the surface. They might have fewer friends, but the ones they do have are often much closer and more important.